Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast. We are not in Paris.
No, sir. Not even close. We're
Well, we're close.
40
As a
minutes.
crow flies.
As a crow flies. How about Heuer Inc. Compound?
Correct.
And I think we've been doing this. That's Bloody Mary.
Yeah. Kelly made it.
Made by Kelly, so it's good. We actually have two of the Heuer Inc. guys.
How many is there?
Half of Caddy Nation. And this one to my right, which is Trey, I cannot believe that he is actually sitting in here with us.
It took a little provoking. But he's in here.
I think he just wanted a shot break.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
He's about too deep here to talk.
I need a break. I need a break.
Well, guys, we had the first 10 episodes on the old platform. We had Rob on right after Whiskey City of 2022. Nobody can get on those, so we're going to redo it before Whiskey City this year instead of after. Guys, thank you for letting us come down and hang out and talking to y'all a little bit. Let's just jump right into it, man. You guys have got a busy month of March.
Yes, we do. We're going to kick it off at Carnage, and then 2 weeks later we'll be in Peoria.
Going to go back to defend the title because you were one of 5 heat winners from 2022 in the Superstock class.
That's correct.
Trey has got, from unfortunate events in Blizzard Bash, he has a lot of car left to take because the Carnage is allowing the pre-runs in the light welds this year.
Yeah, that's something we've kind of been looking for several years. Now that the way the things have went around here, once you come out of the Blizzard Bash with a good light weld, there's not much to do with them. And now this is the first year they're opening up the light welds to pre-rans, so it's kind of a perfect fit for us. So me, Trey, and Ted are going back with those.
I figured you all were saving them for cabin fever.
They get in?
They said they were in a light weld class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
a little bit of confusion on that.
A little, because it looked like they had it, and then I don't see it, and then I see it, and then then it kind of looks like it's disappeared again. So
Well, they got a little mixed up on how many cars were left. And actually, I called them. I said, "It's the mods that's where all the cars are. And if you throw enough money at it, that might work. But it's going to take money to make that happen."
Pre-entry is what's going to take to make that happen.
yeah,
No show.
yeah. So we pulled Trey out of the shop. I know he is. It was kind of nice to not really have to do a whole lot to a Blizzard Bash light weld to go run Capital Carnage when really all you had to do was switch some batteries out.
Oh, yeah. Way too easy.
I mean, we've talked about parts failure, and I mean that's a stupid fucking thing to have at a major show. And it's not. We've talked. It's not like he had some cheap ass O'Reilly's batteries in it. I mean, he had some of the best you could buy.
Yep, yellow top.
You got 10-month-old yellow top.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and it wasn't like it was sluggish pulling on, whenever you started to pull on the track.
It was cold all week out there, and it started fucking 20 times probably. And I don't know, it was cold that night. We brought it in, it started fine. And yep, there it was.
I'm telling you, it was those kids with the wrenches. Same ones that got robbed.
Running around.
Espionage.
About being on that espionage twicey.
Yeah, that's a shitty situation, shitty circumstance.
But a setup for a good car.
Yeah.
Shitty deal on that. Not only did I pull on the track with a flat tire in the heat, when we went to fire him up for the feature, dead battery.
Oh.
Espionage.
We had to hurry up and get that thing going.
Quick charge.
Quick charge.
Well, I mean, honestly, Trey was living the dream out there. He come out of Blizzard Bash with a W and a fresh car.
Yep, first time.
That's the stuff dreams are made of.
Yeah.
But, Trey stays in the car, on the track, and he can see everything. Mm-hmm. He was like a traffic, in all honesty, he was a traffic director out there. We're still a team, and part of that's paying attention to what's going on. And he's seeing, when you're sitting still, you can see everything.
And really, he was right in the middle of the track. It's not like he was stuck down on a corner. Now, all the team stuff that you guys run in, we talked to one of the first 10 episodes we had Adam Lemonezer on there right after Spring X. Adam told us they actually use radios in helmets, to converse with the other three guys. Is that something?
It would just be me screaming in there.
We know sign language, so it's easier.
Sign language instead of talking?
Trey's good with sign language. If Trey and Teddy had a radio together, I think Ted would probably throw his out the window. He'd probably just hang himself in the car.
That didn't make a sound. That is champagne of beers, ponies.
Yeah, a little bit for a
So,
little guy.
he has started this with Bloody Marys, and now he's on Pony Miller High Life. We have Bush Light, and some more Bloody Marys, and Crown Vanilla. And
One of these sons of
Dr.
bitches better
Pepper.
sponsor us one of these.
That's copyrighted, isn't it? Infringement.
No, I'm not
Can you
using
say that on here?
I'm not using the label. I didn't use the label.
We'll peel the labels off.
This is Miller Low Life.
Nothing goes better with Bloody than Miller Low Life.
Yeah, good little life for here.
So you guys have really a full winter. You were real quick to get signed up for the Whiskey City. We've kind of tried to get away from talking about that, but when they launched the driver's list, and the driver's list of who has signed up is just fucking phenomenal. We talked last year, they had X amount of guys signed up, but a lot of them kind of didn't show up. Some of them ran Wicked Team Show instead. They were trying to sign up for both to hopefully they can get 2 cars done. I don't think after seeing how that Derby was last year that we're going to have really anybody back out. We understand shitty circumstances.
Well, and what's on the table this time, because you're fighting for qualifying spot.
South Dakota spot, yeah.
So that's going to give everybody just a little bit more incentive to go ahead and finish that car.
And we have talked. What Steven wants to do is just start at the top of the list and break it down. Heat 1.
Yeah.
Heat 2, Heat 3, because any of the 5 heats or one and done features that we see, there's not going to be, there's no slow pace.
Well, I mean, and honestly, I don't think it's going to matter who draws what feature. I think there's going to be, the pace will be set by the driver's list.
Yeah. When we talked to Rob last year after Whiskey City, it come down to you and Chops and Eric Deemer.
Alan Hassey, yeah.
And Alan Hassey was the 4, and I can't remember who the 5th one was, when it got down to top 5. But you kind of got in a shitty spot, and we were sitting there watching my television, and we was like, get out of the hole. Get out of that hole. And we just saw you going down a little bit more, and I thought, uh-oh. And then all of a sudden he jumps up, he's like, they fucked up. They got him out of the hole. And then, that was that game changer.
It really was. Those guys, they're great guys. Eric and Chops, both are good guys. Honestly, just because, we're good buddies, but we got so much history, good, bad, ugly, all of it. And I think they were so tuned in to trying to go 1-2 with me 3 that they cracked the door open, and I came through it. I really think if Chops could have easily won that, Eric would have got 3rd, I could have got 2nd, but they were so tuned. I really think they were so tuned in on trying to go 1-2 that they slipped up just a little bit, and that's what I was looking for.
Which we talked to Cody a few episodes ago about how do you guys on this big stage, not this local stuff, because we all understand when you go to a local show, there's whether 2 or 5 or 6 of you. How do you know when it's go time? Because you just talked, you were the odd man out between Demel and Chops, but being buddies, and Trey drew a different heat that you did last year. How do you know when it's go time?
That's a good question. Chops was stealing on me a little bit early, and I'm like, how are we going to do this? You want to go now or you want to wait? Okay, I don't know how we communicate in the cars, but we decided, okay, let's put this aside and let's work them down. Trey's better at going than I am. He doesn't fuck your fucking feelings. He goes.
Yeah.
And I might lose one once in a while trying to figure it out, but it's just, I think it's just instinct. It must be instinct. That's what it is. It's instinct.
Next question is, how do you two Rob and Trey both. I know you guys
He's
usually
getting
come.
better. He's getting better because the viewers, they can't see who he's pointing at.
I said you two,
the
Rob
camera
and
at?
Trey.
Right.
We don't have camera footage
camera?
yet. Not
I
yet.
think we do right now.
Oh shit. How do you guys? We father son, but we have noticed with you two that when it comes down to you two, you all don't cut each other no fucking slack. And then you've got Mama Kelly in the middle.
Yikes.
That's bear cub on one side and husband on the other.
Well, I've heard her tell Rob quit picking on my son a lot.
I can tell you who she's cheering for. Then.
But how do you know? Because shop is right across the driveway. You guys are building same cars out of same shops. You're working
Yeah,
on
but they're not built the same. I've seen that argument played out.
But they work on each other's stuff. They help each other. I mean, how do you know how hard to go and not completely waste your shit?
We don't care. We don't give up two thoughts about wasting each other's shit. At the end, pride is something money won't buy. And we take pride in winning. And we want to win. And if it's, that's what we do to win.
We got to see that shit played out in Paris a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Always enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
Trey breaking motors and shit.
well,
Yeah, stay out of it.
the thing is, and there's a lot of guys. We went to Memphis a few years ago, and we put on quite a clinic, evidently. But when it come down to it, me and Trey are running 25 minutes after the show, about to melt two motors down. And after it was over, Fat said, "Man, we appreciate what you guys did, because me and Curtis, if we went 1-2, one of them would shut down. We put them on the trailer. I'm like,
Yeah.
When we come up here, yes, we piled some stuff up, but we both had pride, and if we junk them both, we're going to junk them both, because that win is that."
We've touched on that before with the Eddie boys. Whenever they showed up to Shelmina, like they saved our stock class because it was just them
I agree.
and one other car. And they went out there and they fucking got on. I mean, they got it on. Like they broke shit. But
And we have a full-time bartender today too.
we do. And she just walked off.
Yeah, on the clock.
This is probably better than a dungeon.
Oh, way better.
Way bigger refrigerator.
I mean, this isn't that far. I guess we could just start doing them here.
Pretty classy joint, eh?
We'll have to get him a sticker.
I think Justin's got that covered. How is your preparation different from Carnage to Whiskey City, knowing that you're going to be in just fuck it, I'm going to say it. You're going to be in a harder car at Carnage than you are going to be at Whiskey City.
I don't know. Preparation wise, probably all the same.
Yeah.
From me to Trey, obviously, my cars are in an hour.
Yeah.
So it needed a little more, actually a lot more. I spent a month on it before I started on my Whiskey City car, where Trey and Ted, everybody, they jumped right, well, Ted not so much, but they jumped right into theirs. But I spent a month on my Blizzard Bash car getting it ready for Carnage before I started on my Whiskey City car, because I wanted to get that thing in check, knowing it was coming first. I had a lot more to do on it than fortunately or unfortunately, whatever the Trey did, but nevertheless. But as far as preparation, honestly, we prepare. If we're going to Cabin Fever, if we're going to Piling Up in Paris or Blizzard Bash, our preparation is the same.
It's the same.
Hopefully you're lucky enough to win.
So big show levels doesn't change
No.
anything like that.
And see, that's what we were talking to Austin about. Whenever we talked to Austin Schaefer, he has went and bought a whole bunch of new parts just because he's going to run a bigger show.
Yeah.
And he has got in his nerves more about the big show. So he said, this build is going to be way different than any of the other ones. Like I've thrown a car together in a week and went and run a local show. And he's like, I've spent 4 months, going over bolts, but that's that, like we talked to Austin about, that veteran, derby driver compared to somebody that this is his first, big show that he's ever run.
Right, but Austin, he comes from a long line of it. His
Well,
dad's
that's what
been
we
in
said.
the back.
He was
out.
born into it.
He was, and he'll do fine. But it just, I don't know if it's, and I have fear of failure as well. And I think that's what keeps you striving for to be better. But
Well,
they'll be fine out there.
I told Derek that the cobbled up shit that I took to Blizzard Bash and run out there in that stock class wouldn't hold a fucking candle to what I've put in this car, just because I seen what happened whenever I went out there with the fucking junk.
What happened?
But it just fucking everything was like, I was like, fuck, did the shifter handle just fall off this piece of shit? Like,
Well, shit.
I think the fucking gas pedal fell out. You know, like,
At least your foot didn't go through the floor.
that has happened, Trey. Hey, quit fucking around, Steven. Get back in the car. Like, fuck, I'm under it. Please
Your ass
stop.
up here if you want to ride.
Pull your foot out from underneath the car, please.
He's like, get in here. You're going to get me disqualified. Can't get out of the car while Derby's going. I don't think that counts when you're under the motherfucker.
No. You know, with Trey, I think he was born into it, but you know, not. I guess it's kind of a double standard there. But you know, the first time he got in the car, he was 14, correct?
15 maybe, 14 or 15. Yeah, Madison.
That was in the
Either
Beaver.
14, yeah.
That was
That
the
was that
Beaver
03.
Fever hair, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
that-
all pretty boy and shit. And
That was that 03 at Madison.
It was.
Yeah.
And Austin Johnson rode with them.
Yeah.
That was the ball joint issued.
There's a lot of
I
issues.
think
Yeah.
transmission that time. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Lost reverse too.
Yeah, I took some heat over that car. Ran 'em on.
Give that faulty transmission.
Transmissions, bad.
That's the car I felt.
Spindles.
That's the car I fell through the floor of.
yeah.
so maybe it was just like curse from jump.
Well, we went down to Jeff City, and like I said, that was your second time driving, right?
Third.
Maybe third.
Yeah.
Third.
He's warming up.
Yeah.
He's
Warming up. Yeah, I was just getting ready.
I was in there. There was no rhyme or reason to anything we were doing on the track. I was just fucking holding on. Because he was wide open, and then we'd be going one direction. He'd overpower it. We'd be going back the other direction. I'm like, holy fuck. He's like, we're going to hit this guy. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Yes, we are. And we're headed across the track. And I was like, oh, we're going nosing this shit. I bounced off the front window. I was like, fuck, that hurt. And then he turned around. That's when I fell through the floor. I was like, fuck. Somebody knock a wheel off this thing. Get him to stop.
I think Jake tells him he still owes him one for that. I don't quite remember, but Jake does.
Yeah, he'd been a little dramatic over that.
He's been
He
over
thought it was
that.
harder than I thought it was.
Trey's trying to park a whole bunch of them in, and Jake might have been one of them.
Yeah,
He was,
Accident,
too.
on accident, of course.
I kind of looked over at Trey. I was like, same team, I think.
Same team.
Which, fuck, we were in circles and everything. I didn't know what the fuck was up. There was no
Yeah.
clue he knew what he was hitting.
He's just dizzy.
We were just going that way. What was it that way?
Oh God.
I don't know that we backed up once in that derby. I don't think we ever went backwards.
Yeah, keep training good that time.
He lost reverse in the first one. He's like, fuck that, I ain't doing that again. That's what we use it.
I keep it for later.
That's for getting her off the trailer.
Hold on. I got to get my composure. I'm
That was a
laughing
good
so hard
time.
I'm
though.
crying.
I mean, that was, yeah, we were destined for big things that night. We hadn't lost that front wheel.
Who knew?
So that starts the Trey's progression into driving style. We always talk building, the build style that's really has to progress with the time. We're not going to get into it, but certain things that people do, with
Yeah,
certain
because you don't want to
builds-
talk about the derby after that.
Oh no. How have
Whenever we went back down south, Tommy rode with you.
Yeah, that was worse.
that was
That
worse?
was worse. Soft
It wouldn't
walls,
turn.
soft walls, soft
So
walls.
slick. The track was so slick.
Had that Pam all over the track.
Can't win them all.
Teddy would have gave me shit on there. He was like, yeah, Steve must have been down there watering the fucking track.
So Trey, how did starting where you did, wide open, did you have to really evaluate how you want the outcome of the Derby to be with the pace that you set, or do you got somebody in your ear like Dad saying, "Hey, back it down a little bit," or your buddies, or mom, or somebody like that? If you're going out and you're spending the money, you're spending the time to do the builds. Not everybody just wants to go out and be the first one out. We understand that, but is that
I know a few people that they don't care. They just want the ones that leave the fucking 4.6 and the
Yeah.
Lincoln, I'm gonna go out here and make one fucking shot. That's my goal.
But starting in Madison to the stages that you run now, is that something that you really had to kind of sit back and almost talk to yourself?
No, I just wanted to win more.
Just
Got tired of driving, not winning.
But is it now the other part of the question to that is it? We all know everybody's in the sport to win, in my opinion. Is it any more satisfying to you if you go out and you just go wide open, just taking people out left and right, watching your car come up and it's coming up? So is it more pleasing to you to just go out and take that money shot on Colt Doyle, that type of stuff?
We talked about that on the last one.
Or win?
I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I still cheered on the dirt. I don't give a fuck whether I'm
I'm my own cheerleader out there on the
I don't
dirt.
give a fuck.
The shot heard around the world.
I mean, I don't care what anybody says. I caught a bunch of shit over that. I don't give a fuck. Like, anybody would have cheered over that shot. Because I seen it coming before Doyle did. Like, I was like, oh fuck.
Well, we were
Because
talking.
Trey seen it and was like, he was going to hit him regardless, and then he turned kind of into it,
Yeah,
and it just made everything better.
Yeah, he was turning into it, but I was hoping he wouldn't get it all the way squared up before I got there.
Just like
And
Austin,
he did not.
He did not.
just like Austin said, last week he was like, I'm sitting there in the middle of the track, and he said, I just look over and I hear, "Whoom!" He's like, where the fuck is he going?
And that's whenever I was like, well, Kelly must have said supper was ready. Trey's headed that way.
That's 5 o'clock.
So is it more satisfying to you to get that win or to go put on that show?
Because we got to see you do both of that last year.
Which we have talked before. These guys ran more local stuff last year in 2022 than we've seen for a long time.
Yeah, I like win still. Win's more important than a big hit, I think, still. But sometimes you don't got the car to do it, and if you can help somebody else out on the way out.
Well, that was like those 03s that you all built.
Yeah.
Like that.
They weren't any cars, but they were fun cars to drive to try to get there.
100%. Like I watched them do some shit that I had never seen before. Like the whole caddy cradle deal. That shit was insane.
Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day. I had pictures. I changed phones, lost the pictures of it, but I'd never seen anybody break the cradle out of a caddy. Like it was fucking. It was junk.
Yeah.
Done.
Maybe another picture this year. Maybe.
From a firewall shot.
Yes.
Yeah, it was dumb. I
It
was
all
going through
counts.
pasture. Boy, that's not the best. But I'm like, it's there. Let's just see what happens.
Well, I seen him take the shot, and I was like, was he trying to take the battery box out, or what was he doing? And then I got down there and looked at the car. I was like, it did what
It's on its way.
he got it.
I was trying to push the cage in the driver out the driver's door.
It's
Well, by the
qualified.
gap that was over there after that derby was over, he probably could have slid out through the bottom of it.
Steven's foot probably got through that.
That's what the driver said. This is unsafe. I'm getting it.
But it comes back to that. We've talked to guys. Those firewall shots are fucking nasty.
Well, they are, and they with the right, the right hardness on the front end, the bumper, and all that shit. A firewall shot can be devastating.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Cornell jacked me up a couple years ago up in Madison in a borderline door shot, but really it wasn't. It was the same. But man, if you take that chance and get that right shot, if you can get that cage shifted and get the steering jacked up, you got something.
Yeah.
It's borderline
In the header and the AR mount.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you all have actually. Well, Rob had a really good shot in Salisbury one time with Tommy. Whenever Riggs rode with Tommy up there, and you were in that Cadillac, that was a big shot.
Yeah.
It's bad when Riggs gets out and he says, I'm never
He said,
fucking
"I will
riding
never
again.
get another one of those motherfuckers again." Because
like,
there was 4 cars in there. You about killed Eric Shores off the flag
That was an
drop.
unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
But he said he was going to do it. That was the cool part. He was like, him right off the rip.
He's
And
like,
then there
I'm
he
going
went.
straight, and he did. And Eric was like, I want out of the car now. Because I never. You
It
just
knocked drive shaft out of it. It
fucking
did a whole
jump.
bunch of shit.
I think he might have had.
He had kickers in his car,
voted
yeah.
Yeah.
He had kickers in his car, but I think no full cradle maybe.
Right.
He's ran against it
Yeah,
anyways.
What's about being fair?
Yeah. Yeah, anything
Yeah,
bigger shit.
he should have kept welding.
A lot.
But that come down, to you two and Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
And you and Tommy met
Yeah.
in the middle of the track.
Woof.
You had turned around. It was like that Doyle shot, except you got your shit straight before Tommy hit you.
Yeah.
And I watched. I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah,
I
you just watch
Sparks,
both cars just shudder, and it's like you could watch it from the front to the back.
Rob's caddy come up and stopped, and I don't think he had any steering after that.
I didn't. I don't know if it was a tie rod or
Yeah.
what. I mean, it did. I did lose part of the horn on that deal. And it was one of those. I'm the last one running. I back in. I just won. No. Yeah, we had you at minute 7. They threw me out in minute 7.
You didn't have Steven's stopwatch out there. Needed 2 minutes without.
Let's just say Jeremy's got really good stopwatches.
Steven, maybe you should borrow this
I
stopwatch.
should have. I should have bought it. I should have bought it now. That's where I
You
fucked
should have the stop. You should have the
Gary
stopwatch.
Jones has got your stopwatches.
Son of a bitch. No, he doesn't. I got pictures of that.
Fuck it, let's get drunk.
Lish actually bought new stopwatches after that very show.
Yeah, what was wrong with the other one?
A case of them.
You on your all them fingers you had, you ran out.
I lost count.
Honestly, I got that explained to me. Your berms really should be smoother on the top because it's really sometimes hard to stand on them. And you get, you lose your footing or whatever, and before you know it.
Yeah, he lost count how to start
Well,
over.
We need
That's why we retired.
Yeah.
Well,
Retarded?
whatever.
We were there. We were way retarded before retirement.
It's,
He timed us out.
ever since I used to head umpire third base on Little League once in a while. They said, you got to call it. Whatever you see, you call it, and that's it. Well,
They don't
once
always
you do
work like that.
It ain't always. Everybody should be a Little League umpire. They should.
Rainbows
Flag
and
a
unicorns.
derby,
Steven, have you been an umpire
whatever.
before?
That shit happens in real time,
Mm-hmm.
and all the calls aren't good, but it is what it is.
Rainbows and
And
unicorns.
there's no sense in cry assing around about it for 9 years. I might cry ass around about for about 3 minutes, but not. It's done and
Yep.
over.
Oh, I took my ass chewing. I got a text message
I heard
later
it from
on.
the
Fucking
track.
retired him.
I heard somebody yelling from. I was out on the track. And I'm like, that. I don't know whose fan that is, but
Sound like Steven's fan.
He had
Probably
plenty.
somebody trying to knock me off the fucking dirt on the other side of the track.
Softballs.
So let's.
We got Derek flustered.
No, not flustered.
Probably that old boy trying to beat his ass from the fucking announcer or from the stands up in the
That
announcers.
one girl that said she could do it better than you.
I think that might have been the fan I was talking about.
Oops. I just told her, I said, all you need is $20,000 and some flags. You can do this shit. Get with it.
She had everything she needed but the $20,000 in the flags.
And what did you say? And the friends? She didn't have enough friends.
Didn't have 6 friends to help you put it on.
Steven,
Six
he might
friends.
have 6 friends anymore anyways. Lost like officials.
I did. Go fuck.
We actually talked about
That's why we
that.
didn't come back. I didn't have enough pictures to do it again.
Maybe
We
we
act-
asked her to help.
We actually talked about that with Austin. In the Derby world itself, you grow friends to the point of almost family. I know, Rob, you're in the same way, and Trey, you don't, when you're so sunk into the Derby world, you still have other friends, but they're not as close. It's not like you grow apart or a little bit, but when you guys, I'm not gonna lie, you guys probably spend 9 months in that shop out of 12 months.
Probably more than that, but
Okay, fuck, maybe
Just
10 or 11.
Well, they usually spend about 13 out of the 12 months in the year out in that shop.
So that cuts away a lot of the other time, and I know you guys, with family and girlfriends and wives and everything, but you guys
He was
have
talking
enough-
to Rob on both of those.
as if.
But you guys have, I'm trying to think to word this. You have such a support group that knows, to my knowledge, you don't have any other hobby. You're not a big
He's kind of a
Elk
whiskey
hunt.
I don't do a
connoisseur.
lot of golfing. Or
elk hunter or
you know what? I used to deer hunt every year, open the morning on the farm, until Blizzard Bash. Then once Blizzard Bash started,
You found out that it wasn't fun to gut the
and
nasty.
Yeah, he finally
the
grew
work
up.
starts after you shoot the deer. And then Kyla, she started deer hunting a little bit. I'm like, well, if she pops a deer, that's all we're gonna, that's all we're gonna need. So I haven't hunted since honestly probably 15 Blizzard Bash or 13. And we started going to Blizzard Bash, and I quit that. And this is really our hobby. Yeah, it's expensive, but from the time our first son Jesse, he played all the sports. He played competitive, so we did all that traveling. And I just ran my local show, built one car, run a local show, and we did all that. Well, once he graduated and Trey came up, he wasn't into the sports. That's when we started. That's when I started, doing more derby. He got into it, and we started doing more than that. But before that, I never did do a lot of traveling.
Well, and like Derek was talking, you do take your occasional vacation. That way you can kind of get away from all the bullshit. Just to get a relaxing time. And I know that you all, after Blizzard Bash, you all usually take a little bit off just to kind of reset. And I think that's the same case with a lot of people. But no, if you don't have a bunch of different hobbies and this is what your main focus is and you want to be successful, you're going to be in the fucking shop.
It is, and I've told even like Eddie, he's God dang it, Zane, we'll spend this money. I take him. I'm like, a derby car is cheaper than competitive baseball. I promise you.
Guarantee
I
it.
guarantee it.
Well,
Especially
honestly,
the level Zane's at right now.
Yes,
I mean, it's
yes.
not like he's building a
Right.
qualifying team car.
But even then, until you've been any sports parent that's did either football, baseball, any of that crap, what you spend weekly to go to all the hotels, the cleats, the food.
Fucking $500 baseball bats.
you can throw
Exactly.
golf into that mix too.
Oh, yeah.
anything. You can go bass fishing and see what they spend on a boat.
Well, I got a bunch of buddies that are into waterfowl hunting now, and I bet over the last couple of years, I've got a friend. I bet he spent $30,000 just in
$30,000. I don't think I spent over $2,000 in the last 7 years.
Holy, you should see Kelly. I wish you all could see Kelly right now.
Where's the video now?
Yeah,
Because I want to see
that's the
that
one.
shit.
Yeah, that's the one that needed to be posted.
But, we've got a lot of the Derby guys who are waterfowl hunters. And my son has really wanted to try to get into it. And one of them said, the only thing you need is a lot of money. I said, well, you're fucked, dude.
Well, honestly, that's about any hobby.
Well, if you want to make $1 million in Dim Labs Derby, you better start with $2 million. Because that's what you're going to end with, about $1 million.
Yep.
Because I understand, and even on the promoting side, we try to keep our payouts at a decent amount, and still let there be some left over at the end. But nobody wants to do this shit for free, and you're not going to recoup your money off that win. But it helps.
It does.
Helps the week, yeah.
It really
It helps
does.
with the travel.
I got buddies that are tractor pullers, and they're like, man, they're changing all this. I got to change my chassis. I can't even run it next year. I'm like, well, at least you're making all that big money, that $900 if I win. $140,000 or $200,000 tractor might win $900. They're getting, no one's getting rich in this, but at least there is a little bit of payback at the other end if you're lucky enough to.
Well, on the derby aspect of things, especially on the lower end stuff, I'm not saying you're making money, but you're not losing as much. Because we used to tractor pull. I mean, we had a twin turbo, fully alcohol, unlimited super stock, and I know what was in that motherfucker, and I know what we won with it. Yeah, I mean, there was zero return. Hell, half the time, even if you won, you got a trophy and enough money to maybe cover the beer.
And back in late 80s, early 90s, when I buy a car, I try to come out on, by the time I junked it, this, that, and the other. Even if you didn't even win, I'd always try to break even on the deal, but somewhere that went away.
Well, I don't know. The converter's coming up in price. That had to help a little bit.
If you drive Fords.
Them old cars don't bring a good converted money. Good ones.
And that's another part of the progression. Most of the time, these two guys are running old irons. And anybody who has priced old irons knows what they bring.
Well, I just hate to be on the receiving end of a message on Marketplace from Trey Heuer. Because I hope you know a little bit about fractions.
Ain't no shame in his game.
It works.
He offered a quarter of what the guy was wanting. So Trey figured a good deal was not a third of it.
I was gonna say you're on the wrong.
Yeah, it's
on the wrong
third.
fraction right
Third.
now. Yeah, somebody puts it on there for $5,000. Trey's
Reasonable.
like, I'll give you $650.
Reasonable offer.
And to be honest with you, that Starling is about 14 or 15.
Oh, no
the
shit.
cleanest car I ran was at Mayhem in 15, and that was a Cherry. Anybody that remembers
that
knows
car.
it's a Cherry.
Yeah.
Trey did
That was that
at
Buick.
14 or 15. I don't know what the dude wanted for it. And he's like, it's got a high dollar motor. Trey said, keep the motor. We want the car. So we bought it rolling for $1,500. It was a Cherry.
Yeah,
The
Buick.
dude
662.
wanted big money for it. But
Well, I
so
know all
he had-
about.
Yeah.
I know all about. There's got to be Jewish heritage somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I mean, I do see some curls.
Yeah, it all spins the same.
He's not wearing a yarmulke today, but I mean, whenever I was taking him with me, whenever I was picking up that Copart bullshit, I'd take him with me. We went over into Illinois one time.
That
He's like,
wagon.
hey, yeah, he's
the
like,
Outback.
hey, pull in there. He's like, I'm gonna leave him a
Let
note.
me talk to this guy.
I'm
Let me talk to him.
He's like, he didn't.
Probably
Answer,
roll Trey.
he's like, he didn't answer the door. But I'm gonna leave him a note. You got a pen in here? I'm like, oh yeah, I do.
That's not the only note he's ever left. Because when you can get a Snapchat of him bailing out of the truck, going to knock on somebody that's got a for sale sign window for like 5 G's, he's like, he's going to offer him $1,000.
Well, I mean, I don't know who the stupid person was in the situation, but I think Trey was 14, and I picked him up. We had to go pick up some cars up by Columbia or something. We was coming back. He's like, we drive by this car all the time. It's under a tarp. He's like, there's nobody there. I know what vehicle's sitting in the driveway. I want to go look. I was like, well, fuck it, I guess. Pull in there. We're peeling this dude's tarp back on his car in his driveway. And Trey wasn't going to get in trouble. He was 14. Like,
Yeah, he was
I was going to be
back,
the one that got the trespass.
That was your idea.
He kidnapped me.
We know you guys, Rob especially, went up to John Maba's show last year around Memorial Weekend.
Yeah, because we touched with Teddy
yeah.
on that a little bit.
Jim Falls, which Teddy did say it's in Cannon Falls, Minnesota this year.
But Teddy was talking. He said it was fucking awesome. He said it was fun. He said it was a blast.
It really was. In the track, that local track, they had a bar and grill right there. So, I mean, they had everything. And they said, John thought, there really wasn't enough room. And maybe there wasn't. There was enough room for that.
Yeah, pit
so he
room.
was looking for more room. But the track owners, I thought it was an awesome setup. I think part of the main reason we went up there is John does so much for the sport. And I think he's a good, fair, honest promoter. And we just wanted to throw some support behind him. That was a big deal to go up there. It was expensive to go up there, but we knew the competition was to be good. And we wanted to throw a little support behind John. And we got friends up there. There again, go back to the internet. Yeah, the internet killed the Derby. No, it didn't. It brought people together that wouldn't otherwise ever be brought together.
100%.
We went up there like Neil Carey. He ran up there. Actually, he's got a farm in Brookfield. He was at Piling Up Paris. He come to watch us in Corey and Piling Up in Paris from Minnesota. I mean, that's all that internet stuff. Whatever.
Well, that's
It's just- it's a lot of
100%.
camaraderie.
That's 100% right. Like whenever I was putting those flyers out there and putting them on, the Iowa Derby page, all that shit. Lish, you might have to jump in on this one. Where was that couple from that drove down there on their anniversary?
Michigan.
Was it Michigan?
Yeah, he came over and talked to me. He said he derbied a
there
long
the
time
day
ago in the
before.
80s.
He said
was
that
like,
they usually pick out 2 or 3 derbies that they go to a year, and he'd watched some of the video from Mother's Day Madness, heard what was going on, and was that Piling Up in Paris or was that
Halloween Havoc?
It was Havoc.
And I might have jacked that up a little bit.
One of them two
Neil
fucking
might have
derbies
come
in
back from
Paris.
Halloween, But yeah.
This is the last one.
But they come down in a Dodge pickup with a camper shell on it, and him and his wife they just come down, do a little traveling.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to see an out-of-state show, and they landed on that one. But yeah, it was awesome. I told him, I was like, hey, come down here, back here working on the track. And
Don't come next year because I quit.
Twicey.
Looking for Steve.
Retired.
In search of.
Retired.
So we know the first 2 shows that you guys have in this one for 2023 are 2 in March. How do you guys schedule where you're going to go? Because I know Kelly, she'll put the entire list of every derby that she knows of,
Which is a
all
public
over-
service.
all over social media, which is a fuckload of derbies.
Agreed. She's a little behind on this year.
Yeah, we're mad.
Ruh-roh.
She's bartending.
Yeah, Steven's schedule isn't out yet.
She's waiting on Philly's schedule.
It's easy. It's simple.
Zero.
Simple bit.
The easiest one.
Filthy Promotions? Zero.
Nothing.
Inactive.
So when you guys
after
schedule,
all the internet scrutiny this year, I'm gonna have to rename it if I come back.
so when you guys schedule your shows that you're going to run,
Slightly cleaner.
do you do it early, or do you wait for the outcome of what you have left for the first couple that you have finished to go run, or is it just here? We're going to go here, here, and here, and I don't give a shit what happens in between. If we have something left over, then we can go fill in some other places. So from top to bottom, do you have any method?
Not really. I think the first ones that come out early, we'll jump on them, and basically probably before Blizzard Bash, maybe in November, when Sam's deal. Honestly, last year we didn't sign up for that. I wasn't totally sold on the rule set, but then as it kind of grew closer, I'm like, man, I think I picked mine up from Justin Hill or somebody. I got my spot, and then Trey still wasn't sold on it, and then he's like, I guess if you're going, I'll go. So we jumped up on the backside, and then it turned out so good that because I'm like, God, with Sam, you never know. It may blow up so much that you'll never get back in if you don't jump in on the ground floor. Mm-hmm. So we jumped in, and it turned out great. Then we come back. I'd like to think we maybe borderline had something to do with as many Missouri guys that are going back next year. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, whatever. But it just was that was a great deal. But we start out early on, and that kind of borderline kills maybe some shows that we should run locally, because they have to deal with the fair boards and all that before they know what they got. So once we sign up for a big what big show, if you will, once we sign up for one or two of those, then maybe that kills some stuff that comes in later that we would have enjoyed doing, but we've already signed up for something bigger. And for the most part, once we sign up for a big show, we try to see it through.
You can take that fair board out of the equation if you want to. I'm just saying that's not always the thing. You can. Like on the local side of things, because we did. I mean, Shelbina, that was one that was, you either took the show when they wanted to or you didn't. But it's scheduled the same time every year. And that's why I don't like that excuse on the scheduling shit. Because anybody that's an established fair, they know when the derby's going to be.
Well, they do, but sometimes I go to whatever the festival fairs or whatever whenever they decide who's going to promote it, because the promoter is a big part of where you're going. I can promise you that.
Oh yes, rules change, promoters change. Sometimes it's for the good, sometimes it's for the worst. And we have a new promoter in 2023 around our area who's a really good friend of yours. He's got a couple shows. I don't know. He's got 3. He's got 3 locked down, solidified.
Lewistown and both of the Shelbina.
Both the Shelbinas. Which you hit it there every time. Shelbina's fair is the same.
And the second show is going to be on
Labor Day weekend.
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about that, I mean, I'm all for rigid tech. I want a tech that's ran big shows, small shows, have seen everything. I like to think they're not learning from the build I'm bringing. They've already been there and done that. And I can promise you, with with Junior, he's been there and done that. He knows what he's looking at. He just wants a fair tech. And honestly, because the way his rules are written, that throws me out of the car I've already got built. That otherwise probably could have fit into those rules. But his rules are his rules, and I respect that. And he's got there's big things to come from him.
I really want to see that be successful. I've talked to Junior a lot. Like, he's called me. We've had the 2-hour conversations, and he was like, well, I want to start out small. And I was like, I did that. I said, don't get too big too quick, because I think that was the downfall of what we did. We put too much on our plate, and I was fucking sick of it, done with it. And I told him, I was like, don't do that.
Well, I love that kid like a son, but I'm starting to call him a stupid motherfucker just to get him used to it.
Well, that's what I told him. I said, every week on Facebook, I'm just going to get on there and tell you you're fucking stupid.
That's kind of where I'm at, because I'm like, that's my biggest advice is if you only have one nerve left, don't get into promoting because they're going to jump all over it.
And I mean, that's what we have personally talked, Stephen and I, is that is one reason that we phased out of it, you know, that it just, you get so tired of it and you try to be the bigger person and not lose your shit.
I did. For
He lost his shit.
2.5 years.
Yeah, he
And
lost his
finally-
shit. I think Liz
Finally
lost
it
his
was
shit.
over.
Yeah,
I
you got
lost
a
my
therapist,
shit.
didn't you?
Yeah.
And it was, I try to be prideful and be keeping my composure. And when it's to the point where I can't keep it, I just need to be done with it.
I agree. The thing
Well, I
is,
had to have Kelly talk me off fucking ledge at the last show. So
Yeah, trying to kill himself in front of everybody.
it was either me or the other person. It didn't matter, especially as a bartender.
Well, I was going to say she's a great bartender.
in any business, though, I mean, you're going to take
Pretty good
You're going
therapist.
to take heat. You're going to take shit, and it does get tiresome when you think you're doing the right thing and you're trying to do good. But no matter what, there's going to be a certain amount of negativity that you just got to deal with because there's stupid guys born every day.
Well, and
stupid guys, gals, they born every day.
I mean, I talked to you, Rob, Derek, Trey. I talked to all of you before I even started doing it, and I said I'm going to try to take the drama and the quick reaction and the fighting off of the dirt. Was my main goal whenever we started all that, and I think I did a good job of that until that last fucking show. I mean,
You took a page out of your predecessor's book.
I did on that last one, and that's what I told everybody. I said you got about 60% of what you should have got. Like I was fucking over. I didn't even want to be there.
Yep.
But honestly, I wish you guys would have stayed in it. But when your heart's not in it and you're tired of it, it's time to go.
Well, 100%. That's where I was at. Because if not, you just ruin the fucking. You're going to ruin what you got going on.
I agree. There again, we're going to miss you. But when you don't want to do it and your heart's not in it, it's time to go.
Well, I told you I was ready to be back on. I want to be the guy talking shit, and I'm ready to do that.
He was
And
quick
you're
to tell me that.
You're pretty good at it.
I am.
So we talked to Austin last week about bucket list shows. We know Rob has ran in Montana, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri.
He went out and watched that
Illinois.
Vegas show that we were talking
Yeah.
about.
He went to Vegas and watched.
Nebraska.
Now I'm going to ask Trey: is there a bucket show list that you want to run? Like, you know what? Before I'm done with this, I want to run this show.
Yeah, I like to run Sturgis, Kentucky one time for Wicked. I've watched, me and him went and watched it a lot of times. It's a good show, and think it's a good promoter out there. And different places to run, different rules, and try and get a team out there one time. But it always falls on, this year it falls on Peoria. So can't go to that Wicked team show there, but I'd like to go out there one year.
You guys have been several times to watch, to help. You've never got to run it. Scheduling conflicts, I tried to get Brandon on. It just didn't work. His work schedule was stupid, and now he went from Redneck Rumble, and now he's prepping for
Team
the Wicked
show,
team
yeah.
show. You know, so there's no stopping him right now. So, Rob, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Man, I've hit most of them, and I know I got a shelf life, and that's probably getting close. So that's why I've been running like hell. But that Montana was a big one. They still had that. There's another one out in North Dakota. I'm not sure which one.
Black
that
Hills,
is. Black Hills Beatdown. I wouldn't mind catching that in one time. And if Trey wants to do the one of Dixon shows, he's a good dude. And we got a ton of friends down there too. I've got friends everywhere because when we're not running, we go to watch and try to support those guys. But I did the Mayhem in 15. I wouldn't mind catching that again, but I've already done it, so it's not a big deal. But
Yeah, they
I've
moved
hit-
farther away too, I think, didn't they?
Right, but I've hit. I mean, I've been fortunate, living a dream that I've caught most of them that I wanted to. But the Black Hills Beatdown, I'd like to catch it one time. If they would do another show out there, that's a destination deal. I'd like to catch it one time. Unfortunately, they can't get the deal in Florida, the Daytona. That's a long way to go in the winter. Unfortunately, that's a winter deal, and that's a long way to go in the winter.
You all were supposed to go down
But
there.
I would like to catch that. If they do another one down there, I'd like to catch that one. Just because it's a destination. And something for the family to do other than just us smashing cars. That it's a little something for Kelly and whatnot.
I don't know if you all heard the little birdie in the background, but she said she wanted to go to Utah.
I announced it on air. That is my bucket show to go.
Yeah. They pay good too out there.
Well, I told everybody last week whenever we were talking about it, I want to go out there to
Dead man.
Dead Man. And I told him, I was like, that one out in Pennsylvania.
Dunbar, Pennsylvania.
That's a cool deal, but that just that
format
just doesn't strike me. The Utah deal, I would, because I'd like to load a side by side up and hit Mauve while we're out there.
If you do that, you're going to have to buy a 4-seater because I'm going with you. And I'm not buying a fucking side by side.
Just for a couple of days, you can sell when you get back.
Just rent one.
Yeah, them rentals.
We do, we spoke with it. One of our biggest listeners is Jeremy out of Washington. So we were actually messaging a while back, and he was like, man, have you checked on flights? I said, yeah. I was like, if I go in like 2 weeks, it's like $250. If I schedule it for Wasatch County Fair, which is July 28th and 29th,
$600.
it's $600 to $700 for round trip flights.
Which he hasn't talked to Kelly.
Yes, I have not talked to the travel agent.
Trip advisor.
There's a special on Southwest for $3.99 to fly anywhere with 1 day's notice all summer long.
See?
No 1 day's notice, so you gotta be kind of flexible, but I think you can probably work that out where you want a day earlier, a day later, whatever.
Out there in that area, though, you got to be real careful because old timer like me gets his head knocked clean off. But if I dodge the bullet,
Yeah, that's
Well, I told Derek, I said, fuck it, I'll drive. Because what'd you say it was to drive out there?
19 and change.
Shit, I ain't scared of it.
we went to City, Montana, that team show.
You got to experience all 4 climates.
We got to see it all.
Of the
Honestly,
United
that was one of the
States at
best
one trip.
trips. I mean, I drove all the way across South Dakota, a little bit of North Dakota. We hit Montana at 7 in the morning, sun's coming up. And then Corey was with us, and he drove the rest of the way in, another 2 hours. But that's one of the funnest trips I ever took in my life. We didn't have the showing we should have had, but I would have changed. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
But that's the thing. You turned a derby into somewhat of a vacation.
For sure.
And I'm sure, there's always people talking shit. Why do you need a toter? To a derby? Because usually toter is in the racing world.
Right.
Because it's really nice whenever we're all partying in the pits and there's a little mobile house.
Yes. Or on the way there, if you've got a 15-hour drive, guess what? I'm tired. You wheel it. I'm going to go back here and take me an hour nap. And then that's the part when, he doesn't fly. Steven does not fly. You don't like it.
Fucking arms get tired.
He's a big fella.
He is. Well, I'm not a little fella, and I mean, I
I'm a big fella.
fly all the time.
Like I've told you a million times on here, I can get out of my truck and change a flat tire. Mm-hmm. And I understand the flat tire don't matter when you're in the air, but it does when you're trying to put it on the ground.
Well, they say you're not going to die until it's your time to die, but you don't want to be on a plane when the guy beside you. Maybe it's his time to die, not really yours, but it's his time to die, and you get caught up in it.
Yeah, and he's got this special homemade vest on or whatever. he's got a fucking box cutter.
He got some fireworks on
Yeah,
it.
get out of here. This fucking dude sitting next to me smuggling firecrackers. in here, and I don't like it.
Roman candles.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
But I'm just that type. I'd rather be there in 2.5 hours than I would 20 hours.
I would too if I wasn't pulling a car.
Correct.
I asked Kelly what she'd rather do. She'd much rather fly and catch us there, but
And that's what we have talked about when the gold rush came out. When Sam announced that, we looked it up. Was it 12 hours?
Yeah.
Steve was like, "Fuck it, I'm driving." I was like, "If I can find an airport pretty close, I'll be there in an hour and a half. I'll catch you."
So
Pick me up when I land.
And these two are flying. So we can't fly anywhere.
There is an airport.
and, we had an opportunity to run that national deal out there, and just the rule set wasn't quite what we wanted. And then coming off of that, what's left, we'll never run the car. So it was just way too much work with that rule set to build the cars. Going there, that's the easy part, honestly. Fortunately for us, that would be the easy part. But it was just the build and what you're going to do with what's left of it. So we opted out of it. But hopefully, me, myself, or Trey, or Ted, if either of the three of us qualify for that this year, I'm sure we'll make that trip.
Well, I tried. Dale Colbert, we talked about it last week. Colbert tried to, because I'd already completely talked myself out even trying to get a stock spot. Done now. Well, he messaged me on Sunday. You going to try? You going to try to get a spot out there? I was like, nah, I don't think so. He messaged me the next day. He's like, well, if a couple of us got in, we could double up on trailer or whatever. And I'm like, well, whatever. And I was like, well, now I think after Whiskey City, I'm going to just go back to spectating because the whole sport needs fans too.
It needs span. I say that a lot. Some of them big fellas need to just watch.
And that's what I told him, and he was like, man, just try. So I was like, all right, fuck it. But it wasn't like Whiskey City. I didn't have 7 people sitting around with their phones out trying to get a spot. I just tried them on. It sold out real quick. I was like, that's probably better anyway.
Yeah, he played it on purpose. He probably waited a little longer.
So, I was like,
Honestly, I did look at that stock spot.
I couldn't get a spot.
You looked at the stock spot?
That thought crossed my mind, but not deep enough. I don't want to overthink about it. Hopefully, we can catch a qualifier and run I'd much rather run a street stock up there. And if we don't, we don't. If it's meant to be, we'll make it happen. If not, we won't. But that's coming a week after Lizard Bash.
Week before.
Week after.
Week after.
Is it week after?
No, I'm sorry.
it's before.
Yeah,
It's week before, yeah.
It's the first. Yeah, it's the first week of November.
Obviously, we're going back to Blizzard Bash. We might have or might not have had we took a spot up there in the national side. We hadn't ruled it 100% out. Me and Ted was still kind of wanting to go back to Blizzard Bash. That's such a. It's 3 hours from home.
Well, that and with the success.
They're stumbling around on that deal a little bit.
Oh, hold on. I hate to cut you all off here, but I got to do a shot real quick.
He's gonna be a pile of
Well,
fuck
it's NyQuil, isn't it?
before we leave here.
He's gonna be piled up in sturgeon.
Actually, that wasn't horrible. What was that?
Candied orange tequila.
Oh
Candy
God!
orange tequila.
So we're back to Blizzard Bash, and maybe if one of us qualify or 2 of us, hopefully all 3 of us get qualified, and I'm sure at that point we'll do pull double duty and we'll go to South Dakota and then just swing on back to Blizzard Bash. And
Now, okay, hitting that, knowing that is a
Real fucking possibility.
real possibility. Does that change your summer schedule for the other derbies when you can
No,
spend
but it
more?
changes Trey's building schedule a little bit.
Yeah, but all these cars are him too.
we're about to put that rumor to rest.
Does that possibility change your scheduling where fuck, I got to build 2 cars?
Absolutely, it does.
Fucking happened
If we
last
come
year
out
at
of
Jim Falls.
Whiskey City qualified, 1 or 2 of us, it'll be at that point we'll burn up what we have and we'll look toward that. But if not, I mean we got to run those. We got to run the cars that we have somewhere because obviously we're going back to PEC. So if I burn a car up in one show, if we have a good outcome, or if we don't, whatever, that's fine. But if not, we want to run the cars out. Unfortunately, around here, that's questionable on where you're going to run that car. Luckily, Lucky Sevens are adopted his street stock rules, so that's going to be great for the guys coming back from Whiskey, but it's also going to be great for that 18 cars that are going to Nebraska because those cars are somewhat close to the Whiskey. So
Little tweaks,
but that should line up some really good shows for the Woods boys.
Yeah.
Well, I
They can
think
schedule out.
Jacob, he called me here a while back, and he was like, hey, what was your changes to the street stock going to be? I was like, 100% was going to follow whoever had the most leftover cars after, these 2 big shows that are coming up, whether it be River City, Whiskey City, whatever. I told him, I was like, I was going to blend that rule and try to drag as many of those motherfuckers over as I could.
Because that's where your success came from, Stephen. You aren't the biggest derby driver, builder, whatever, but you pay attention to what's going on. You know where to pull cars. It doesn't make a shit if not one person builds a car for your show. If there's 27 leftovers that come to your show, that's better than having 4 guys that built for it.
My success come from the first derby that we put on whenever I was looking at dates.
Bowling Green was
And
it?
I wanted to follow Bowling Green by 2 weeks is what I wanted to do. That was going to give Bowling Green with their 200 cars, that was going to give those guys 2 weeks to fix their shit and have somewhere to go run for $1,500.
And you took that and successfully rolled with it for a couple of years. And that's what the other guys, they don't get out and watch enough derbies. They don't really realize what's going on.
Evidently they don't like drinking beer.
The county. I mean,
Because I was doing some strategic research along with feeding a thirst.
Internet research.
I mean, I was out there and I was putting in the groundwork. You know, I was having to go to these derbies. I was having to drink all this beer. I was having to talk
I had
all
to
this
do
people.
it.
R&D. Did a lot of R&D.
I mean, I felt like a politician that could drink. I mean, hell, that one year, I think Lish added up. I think we spent almost $6,000 or $7,000 one summer just running around to fucking derbies and
That's
watching.
a tax write-off, so what they told me.
I had to, you know. I mean, fucking.
It's not a company card.
It's like,
So, Trey, I'm going to ask you, preference, singles or team show?
I like running team shows. I mean, they're close. I like running team shows, but because no one really fucking bothers you when you run them like that.
Yeah.
When you're running team shows at a singles class, it's a little bit harder.
You know, we talked to Junior a while back, and Junior was really adamant about the team show pressure. You know, it's not just the pressure on yourself to go do good. Now you've got 2 or 3 other
Count on
guys.
you.
You know, he talked about when you and Junior ran at Platte City.
Right.
You know, he felt that he let you down. So I just didn't know if that extra pressure, you know, in that team format.
that was Jim Sharp.
Yeah.
Goddamn right.
Goddamn right.
Thank you, Trey. Oh boy.
You know, I know it helps. Some of your, you know, you run with your dad, run with your best friends. The two when you do that stuff. So there's no real added pressure because I know you were not happy after Blizzard Bash. We didn't personally talk, but you can just see. You just see. I just saw him slouch down in a seat, like fuck.
Yeah, that don't usually happen to me, but it happens to everybody every once in a while. But
Says the guy that lost a fuel cap one time.
that was on purpose. If you ask me,
Just as Jake.
that worked out. It worked out better that year though than this year. I don't know. Yeah, it's more pressure, I guess. Shit like that happens. It kind of sucks because you got 3 guys counting on you, but they can handle it still. Not too bad.
I mean I think that's a big difference when you've got really good, reliable teammates.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Guys.
jump into that because the last time we actually got to talk about the new member of Caddy Nation was on the old podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably ought to bring him up now.
Yeah, man, we're losing a crucial part. I mean,
Yeah.
Jake stepped out a few years ago, and Jake's like a brother. We know where Jake's at all the time on the
Yeah.
track, and he stepped out, and Mason stepped in, did more than we could ever ask for as a driver, builder, team player. He was all the above. He can build at any level, he can complement any team he's ever on, from bone stock to full modified. And he's going to take a little break, so we're bringing in 1024 Ty Richards from Southern Illinois, some of the best they have to offer in Southern Illinois. So he's going to complement the team. So hopefully we're going to just keep on moving just like we always have.
And man, it just sucks that you all keep having, you know, winning teams, and then you've got to change the style again. You know, because his driving style is not going to be the same as Mason's.
Well, I know one's
Or
will,
the-
yeah.
Not so much, but fortunately, when you're in a position where you have had some success, you can get top tier players to jump on.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And with you all being on the top side of the winning bracket, whether you all are, you know, whether you're first, second, third, whatever, the quality of driver that's going to, like, if you're like, hey, we got a spot open, you know, they're coming out of the fucking woodwork.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck what anybody says, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And you've kind of got a pecking order that you can go down
Yeah, we
to
got
pick
some,
that.
lack of a better term, we got some high level guys that
Yeah.
that are jumping on. So that's lucky for us.
Right. I'm anxious to watch that play out. Just with the new member.
It's
and-
going to play out good. I mean, Ty's won so many local shows.
Big
He's had to run
shows,
against
yeah.
Santel. He's had to run against all those really good guys from.
That's a name
that
that comes
area,
up on this
yeah.
podcast all the time, Santel. Santel.
Yeah, he had run Santel, all the time. Fair shows, Santel, Prochaska.
Because anybody can say what they want about
Pro, all
Santel.
those guys
I
are-
mean, the
they're
fucking
great.
dude is.
Which is a fucking wheel man, dude.
He's a wheel man,
Yeah.
and Pro is, and
Yeah.
so is Ty.
All of them.
And his brother-in-law, Buddy. I mean, those guys are all good, and at the end of the night, somebody's got to win. So you got to run through
Derek,
those.
Derek
those
stepped
top
out.
three
You
guys.
might bring him back up to speed on.
No, yeah.
Okay.
We talked before we hit the go button
Right.
a little bit.
I just wanted to make sure that we brought that up.
Yeah.
And not only enough, every couple year, every year or so, Ty's like, when I get on to Caddy Nation, he actually said that at Blizzard Bash. We had no idea that Mason was
Before,
going to get out.
yeah.
And chain of events. And I told Ty then, I said, probably when I quit, you probably take my spot. He's like, not day. And then, Mason's like, yeah, there's chain of events happen. He's like, you know what, I want to take a little break. And
Yeah.
and we hate to lose him, but if you're there again, whether you're running on a team or promoting derbies, when you don't want to do it, there's you step out. Don't do something you don't want to do. Just step out. And so,
It sucks though because I really like watching Mason. I
Yeah,
do.
it's Will,
I
man.
mean,
too.
Even
And I
from
can-
the time whenever I first started going out there with you all, whenever the first year you all were like, hey, you might as well just come out here to Blizzard Bash. I was like, all right, fuck it. Well, he was running youth class.
yeah,
Yeah, with everybody's ass.
killing everybody.
Yeah.
I looked
he
at
was killing
Sam in the barn, and I said, I'm going to tell you,
Fuck
dude,
y'all, might as well just bump him up a class and let him run up there too.
Yes, I said, you're going to get a kid hurt. He was like, what? I was like, Mason is not a joke. He was
He
full
drove
tracking.
about 13 cars in this.
Yeah. They had to get
Yeah,
finished
he-
up real quick.
he
Yeah.
annihilated
Went
an
to the
entire
feature in no
field.
time.
He did. So, no, we're looking forward to Ty. He's a great guy, great builder. He can drive any fucking thing. And that's why he said, we want me in. I'm like, whatever you're good in, whatever you're comfortable in. Because he can drive a Ford, he can drive a Chevy, he can drive a
Wagon,
wagon. It
anything.
doesn't matter. He's, there again, like Mason.
That'd be something new to see on the Caddy Nation team.
A wagon
Caddy Nation and such.
and such.
It's probably going to happen.
and such. Which
Caddy Nation plus one.
you've seen Ty in a wagon.
Plus two.
I've seen Ty in a wagon. Ty is signed up, I believe, for the Wicked Team Show. I don't know if it's singles because they didn't really break that down too much, but I know his name is on there.
Yeah.
So man, that's
Well,
That's another name that's come up on here before. We've talked about it before.
when you get guys such as Trevor Jones, Don Santel, Ty Richards, Luke Warland.
James Protaska.
Yes, that's you're getting into another driver's list such as Whiskey City that you're just like, holy shit.
And that's what we're up against this year. That list goes on and on. And I think 90% of them will be there. And part of the reason we travel is to, we want to run up against guys theoretically better than us. Or whatever, at least as good as, because you don't get better running against guys, unfortunately, that aren't as good. You want to run against guys to bring you to the next level, always.
That's why when we were talking to Cody and Landon before Mother's Day last year, they wanted to test their abilities to. We all know if you're going to go run an individual singles event, that's still different than the team setting. And I straight up told Landon after that show, I was like, man, I'm proud of you. He's like, why? For getting my ass whipped. I said, no. For one solid minute, you had no chance of driving. Period. You were getting blasted from the front, the back, the side. He was just kind of a pinball in the middle of a bunch of flippers.
But he showed no quit.
Yes, until that bitch was bellied out so
He showed
bad
no
he
quit.
wasn't moving.
I was proud of it.
Lane's got heart.
Landon has
He
got a
showed
lot of
more
heart.
heart than anybody else on the track.
Mm-hmm.
He had more heart than anybody. And he still got that. That's something that you're born with.
Yes. Yeah.
We've seen that played out in a couple shows. Even when the odds are stacked against you, if you don't stop, that's worth something.
Until you can't go no more.
Because there's a lot of people that are, they'll fucking get that big group on them, and whether it lasts 30 seconds or
3
3
minutes.
minutes, they're like, fuck this.
That's when it gets exciting.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's when it gets exciting.
It is. I mean, because
I'll sit there. They can fucking beat all over that. I don't give a fuck.
we
Come on with
talked. We talked to you in the first 10 episodes. You've taken your ass whippings.
I'm gonna take some more. Hopefully, I give out more than I take, but I'm still set to take a few.
Well, that's what we talked about when everybody was like, "Oh, fucking Rob and Trey are here. They're get to do that." I was like, "They didn't even fucking win." Shut up.
Yeah, we
Oh,
suck.
at Halloween? Yeah. They're, well,
I don't know how many times I heard that. Oh, they had this and that. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Why? Why are you worried about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, before that, it was somebody else. That
Uh-huh.
group,
Oh, yeah.
group that was going to kill everybody.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
it was the Eddie boys. Yeah, the fucking Eddies are here. They're fucking cheated up. And I'm like, well,
And then there
that was the first thing Danny Weaver said after Columbia. He goes, "Go ask Rob if my fucking car will bend."
Yeah.
He said, "Go
It bent.
talk to Justin Morgan." And all. And he's like,
Those guys are true competitors.
Yeah.
Weaver showed up in Columbia with the mentality he was junking that shit before he left.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't give a fuck if he was coming out on top. First person out, he wanted to end that car, and he got it done. He had some help.
There again, we need more guys like that because there's a lot of times I'll go by myself of Trey, and a lot of times me and Trey go together. But if not, that won't keep me from going. But a lot of guys, if they don't have 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, they don't want to go.
Yeah.
A lot of times we go 1, 2, 3. If we got 3, we got a load. If ever we could pull me, Trey, and Ted.
Well, you all
and
need to
say
start-
Eddie and Jake jump on board.
Well, y'all need to start talking to Jake Reed because he can go by himself, and everybody wants to run with him.
Yeah, we can get his team again.
I'm running with Jake. I'm running with Jake.
You can probably tell that one isn't.
So
there.
everybody out here is running
Yeah.
with Jake.
Yeah. So
So Jake gets to do what Jake does.
Yep.
You
And
brought
I
it.
gave him shit about that several times.
He earned it.
I'm going to ask. You did bring it up earlier about shelf life. Do you have
Oh, fuck, you
a.
can't ask him that.
I am. Do you have kind of an idea, maybe a set plan for that shelf life? Or is it you're just going to go with it until you just say fuck it?
fuck. Every morning when I wake up, I think it's a day. But you get to moving, take an Advil, and
I didn't want to
and
pills.
I hope I got 5 more in me. But maybe that's 9, maybe that's 60, maybe that's 57, maybe that's shit. I don't know, but
He's at to find a different hobby though, because I can't have him in the house 24/7.
there's
I like the mic car. The mic cars didn't return the favor.
But there's always, it's kind of a double question
Well,
because
maybe at that point he can just start spending Trey's money. He can just be a car
I'm
runner.
about to flip the switch.
he was quick to say no.
Hey,
I've been building 2 cars all these years, so it's gonna be nice to build 12.
must be nice. Yeah.
Hey, I see it on Facebook all the time that whenever Trey's thanking people, he always leaves out dad or mom.
He never leaves out mama for cooking dinner. He did it one time, and I've never seen it since
Yep.
then.
Couldn't forget that.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've seen several posts where it's like, oh yeah, Trey, thanks dad.
Jake Phelps keeps
Thanks,
That's
Dad.
Jake.
Thanks,
That's
Dad.
just Jake.
That don't count.
He is the caddy daddy.
I'm going to bring it up. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to.
Okay.
I've drank enough now, and Kelly keeps.
You've drank enough, and you've spilt enough.
I spilled a quarter of a fucking beer. Shut up.
It's
you
still
spill more than you
unlawful.
drink.
And it was because Cy had me distracted.
safety director. Got trippy mind.
Fucking safety director
That fire extinguisher's in the way.
had me fucking acting unsafe over
He
here.
tripped over size safety
Fire extinguisher.
He brings it with him everywhere. He's got to.
Safety patrol.
Golf cart's parked out front.
But
What's your
Stay the
feeling
fuck
about-
off my golf
Go
cart.
line it up. I'm gonna run over his ass with it.
That golf cart has golf balls.
Okay, there was
that was a hit and
on
run.
Facebook that
That was a goddamn hit and run.
and it was Meyer that shared it, and he commented under it and asked if it was me. It was that golf cart getting pulled by the truck down the road. And it, of course, went like this, and somebody asked if it was me driving, and I said, no, the computer's not in front of me.
Poor
Yeah.
Junior. He did. He got run on the fuck over.
Poor Junior.
But I apologize every time I see him. I apologize.
As you should. You run over the guy.
No, I didn't run him over. I
Dash
He
cam on the
was
golf cart.
funny.
Okay, so you were going to ask.
All right. No, I'm not asking anything. I'm just going to tell the story. Madison. Everybody in the pits. I was there. Rob and Trey and Bad Boys is here. We're taking them out. They were conspiring. You want to?
They weren't conspiring, they were politicking.
Yeah, Trey was pretty young then, and Dan was pretty young. And Dan had a good run back then, but he was running by himself too. And him and Trey they were buddies. And Trey said, "Dalen, what's going on?" I'm like, well,
that was when Dalen was still painting whoever's name.
Yeah, whatever.
On
Yeah.
the side
Bigger
of it.
shot, probably.
Right. But
I think it had BMF on it that
He
night.
did. I think he might have. But then I told Trey, he said, well, it's anybody but you all. Okay. And Trey said, Dad, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to hit every fucking thing we can as hard as fast as we can. And whatever happens, happens. I said, just come off of one and go to the next.
Because I'm telling you, that was before we were even running around real hardcore or, even coming over here and hanging out a bunch. I heard the talk in the pits. It was,
We didn't.
We didn't.
I had heard them all. We're taking them the fuck out.
But I appreciate Dan's honesty because at least he told
Yeah.
me where they were at.
Easier to start with.
Yeah. And, they started on us pretty good, and we hit them hard and fast. And I honestly ended up, I lost the tranny at third, and Trey ended up winning that. And I probably built his confidence. That's probably what made him the man he is today.
I think I jumped a fence that night.
He just about
This
did.
old man beat you up, I
No,
thought.
I did.
Some old man was going to beat you up, I thought.
Some old man was going to beat you up. I wanted to make sure I was out there first.
Get a free ride somewhere.
A little 15-year-old Trey.
The 15-year-old Trey Kelly's like, get him! Don't let him get to Trey. I was like,
Don't let him get to my baby boy.
I was like, fuck, all right, here I go.
I think you knocked the fence down. I don't think you
Fucking, I went through the fence.
I think you just kicked it over.
The fence he ran through.
He just kicked it over.
It's whatever. Oh, that was a hell of a show, though. That motherfucker was from the drop of the
It
flag.
was a good show. Madison had 3 or 4 years where they were, and there again, every promoter, they're doing good things, and then all of a sudden you get a couple bad ballers. And that night, we were watching one of the shows, and there was a girl
worries too much
beside me.
about
She
that.
was railing Jeremy Baker's ass. They were having 70 car shows up there, and she's like, well, I'll be glad when you sell my bitches are gone. I'm like, careful what you wish for. That was the last one they had. Well, now they're back to 7, 8 car loads.
And they refused to let us in there for a long time. Well, until last year, they were like, "Hey, would you?" I was like, "Fuck that." There's a stigma on that motherfucker. I ain't doing that.
Borderline, but in all honesty, Jeremy did a lot of good things up there. That was some of the greatest shows that they ever had up there. From
Well, I talked-
to lighter shows.
I talked to Jeremy about that whole deal. He openly admitted he stayed a year longer than he wanted to, than he honestly should have.
Right.
Because he said that last year. He fucking
Well, he was
said it.
taking the same heat, the same, the
Same bullshit.
shit from the peanut.
We talked about this whenever I started doing it. These promoters have a 4 to 6 year shelf life. I didn't make it to the 4 year. I mean,
But you know what? There's 20-year-old
Yes, you
guys that
did.
can take shit better than you can, Steven. Look at Chris Williams. They can take that shit.
well, and he'll be more successful in this business than I will be.
Which we talked with Sam. Chris grew up in the derby world.
Well, that's what Sam said. He said both the kids were fucking devastated whenever he quit.
And he even said it. He said, maybe I should have talked with him first. He's like, but now, Chris's mentality is he can handle that ass chew, and he,
More so than Sam can. I mean,
Yeah.
Sam straight up admitted that. He was like, hey, he's got more level head on his shoulders than I did.
Right. And he does, and they're both, and they're all sharp. And Chris is good. He's been right there again. He's drove, he's run high level shows out
Oh, yeah.
west, and the thing is, like at Whiskey City, some guys complaining about how long it took to tech. Well, they were building inspection crews, so instead of having one guy up front, one guy, they had like 7 guys, and those are good guys
That hadn't worked together.
Shay
I
was
think Nelly-
teching.
Shay was
Nelly
teching.
was there.
I think Nelly's there.
Catilla was
so
there.
These guys
But are these guys that have
together.
teched together ever?
Never.
That's what I'm
They've
saying.
all done different techs and
Yeah.
built high level cars, but they're all on the same
Looking at
page, so they
everything.
know from here on out, this is how we are all calling everything.
Hell, we run
they
into
were
that shit on the smaller
They weren't
scale
just
stuff.
tech, and they were building their tech crew as they went. Catella was there. Eric. And they got some good guys there tech.
We run into that shit on the local side of things, you know, with Jerry and Tony and Cedric and Justin and all those guys. Whenever they all knew each other, but when they started teching together, you know, one of them wouldn't agree with this or that, and I mean, it took about a year to get through most of that until finally we were like, whatever Jerry says is what we're doing.
Hey, don't listen to Steve about 03 crew. He'll fuck you every time.
100%. You'll go through tech 4 times and still won't pass that. I was like, fuck it, it's good to me.
Looks good for
Well,
my
Steven
house.
said
What
it
a
was,
guy. What a
Looks
guy.
good for my house.
Steven said it was fine. Well, he's not a fucking tech.
Get over the phone.
But yeah, I mean, that's what we've told everybody on that shit. Like those people, they've got to start somewhere. There has to be a starting point.
Right. And that's what they did.
And you want to start on the tight end of things.
But not everybody starts on one of the biggest stages in the country. So that, in
Well,
my
and
opinion,
especially
includes
with
is
the-
more pressure on them
With
to
the
not step
platform
on their
mix
dick.
up, you know, the next big thing. You know, everything's a feature.
Here's the thing, whether it's Steven or Sam or whoever it is, Torrey Schutte said this a long time ago. He said demolition drivers got some of the shortest term memories.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do. And Sam, I tell you, there was times when he was less than desirable, but he comes back and
Jake don't do it.
everything's
Who?
great stuff. Everything's great. So same deal. There's been ups and downs, but once you're out of it a year or two,
Well, I run this fucking thing at that other guy's show. I just did it over there. I just run this car.
It's just 5 plates over. It don't matter.
yeah.
I mean, Sam and I have about had it out before. Over.
CJ.
And that wasn't even your fucking car.
CJ
Yeah.
Cordell's plates.
Yeah.
Teddy got in on it. Yeah, he probably deserved it though.
Yeah.
I got to see that. That was all Junior's fault. Ask Teddy.
Riley, Weldon too much. That's a good place for Teddy.
And he bought
anyways,
a beer can one day.
Yeah, that come from
Yeah,
above us.
Probably with his back, I think.
Whatever section is directly above 117, I don't know. That beer can
Came
come
pretty
from-
hard.
Yeah, but then next year when we were running the team show, Jake said, if that beer can would have been full, I'd have got you.
I mean, the guy above me. would've got
That's
me.
Well, that's
what
what
I
he
meant to
meant.
say.
You know,
He almost did catch him.
But he probably said, I might have had it coming. I don't know if he said it or not.
He was thinking.
I don't
Everybody's
think he
thinking.
said that. I think he was just thinking that.
Rob, I want to ask you really the same question I asked Trey. Singles or team show?
And I like it all. The thing is with the singles, they're all team shows. So you got that, and there again, I said Trey, he's the fuck your fucking feelings guy. He will jump in a heartbeat, and I'm trying to think will I do this just quite now or whatever. So with the singles, you got that. If you jump this, it's a good friend, but I mean it has to be done. There's winners. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. So with a team show, you don't have to think about your buddy. I mean, we're all buddies now, and hopefully we all have mutual respect. But there's only one winner. So I like the singles, but I really love the team shows too. And then if you can, if you know your teammates well and they're running hard together, even like at Blizzard Bash, I overdrove my car. I wouldn't have drove it quite as hard if I knew I had to win. But I knew Ted was there. At that point, Trey was out, but he was also directing traffic, saying, "Hey, you better go. They're messing with Ted. You got to go. You got to go." So when I came, I came, and I came harder than I would if I was trying to win. But I knew if I could get them close, I felt confident that Mason and Ted could pull it through. So I like the teams because you reevaluate. There's been times when we were out there when Ted was driving his car backwards 75 miles an hour.
Hold the front bumper on.
Running hard, Trey's running hard. I'm like, whoa, I better draw back because these guys are out of control.
Correct.
So you got to readjust. But long story short, I like the team shows better.
Well,
Whether it's
I feel
format
like
or
it.
man,
I feel like it
love
pulls a little bit of the pressure, but also adds it at the same time.
Yeah, as before, but
Yeah,
while you're
it
running
does.
it,
Right.
It adds because if you have a bad night and you got good guys around you,
Yeah.
they're gonna.
Well,
make
because
that
you feel
point.
like you let the team down.
Right. And there again, when you have a newer teammate,
And, if your
well,
batteries die and stuff, you should feel like an asshole because,
that's all right. I've been on both sides. It's all right. I felt the same way he's felt before. It's okay.
whenever your door was hanging off your car.
Yeah, everyone else was watching me from the stands. It was a little bit. It was easier for them to watch.
We were
than-
cheering.
You did a good job cheering. That's probably why I won. Yeah, because you were cheering so loud.
That's what it was. It was the spirit. We were pushing that car around the track.
Yeah.
But there is that added pressure. And when you throw a new teammate in, whether the new teammate a few years ago was Mason, then you feel pressure not to let him down as a new guy. And now this year, hell, if I let Trey down or Ted, no big deal. But if I want to let Mason or now that Ty's in there, the last thing I want to do is let a new guy down. So there is a little added pressure, especially with a new teammate. But I accept that pressure and roll with it. I love the team shows. Just love it.
Well, I know after, our little group started going out there to Blizzard Bash with y'all after y'all started running the team stuff, it was a hell of a lot more fun, like whenever you were running mod singles and all that shit. Because it seemed like our whole weekend was just fixing your shit. Like that one year, we went out there whenever you took.
Porter Power about killed somebody, didn't it?
Jesus
Were you in that or not?
Christ.
Was
yeah.
Josh? Was
Yeah.
Josh there?
Josh scored about took one. He just
Someone took one.
We almost
sure.
lost one of the mouthier people in the Demolition Derby world.
You probably set it up for me. You put that Porter Power there like
I
that.
thought I got Josh, not you.
I said one of. One
Oh,
of.
I thought, yeah, one of. I thought you got hit by it.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, it looked like a
But also, that was one of the.
compensation claim.
That was one of the best weathered shows I've ever been to out there because I was running around in a sleeveless shirt. Because it was fucking nice out there that year.
And honestly, back then, but we had no desire to run the teams. We were just running singles, and Sam's like, "Here's the deal: Blizzard Bash is going to be nothing but
Team only.
Team only. Carnage is going to be singles."
And I can remember y'all bitching about that.
Ah, what a bullshit! I guess we're going to run a team. So then, so we get our team, and then hell, there's half a dozen singles events,
Yeah.
and it's still got
Too late.
And really, they need to get back to that. Probably just running. I know everybody wants to see singles out there, but I told Tim, I said, you can't judge the successfulness of an event by running it till 2 or 3 in the morning. That's all bullshit. It needs to be over by 11.
That's why we're so looking forward to Peoria, because Sam took all that from what he did in the past at Blizzard Bash and Carnage.
Instead of being me sliding in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, hopefully I can be passed out drunk by 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Prime time and prime time, baby.
Yes, exactly.
Just don't trip over the dog.
There's going to be no
kicked
dog
it.
in the hotel room,
They kicked it.
so we don't have to worry about it. And you're not going to have somebody in your hotel room pissing in the couch.
Who did that?
Or your girlfriend's clothes.
Oops. I don't know what happened there.
One thing that,
That was
we,
that fucking pit party.
Throwing like change on there.
I was making it hail. Couldn't afford to make it rain.
Other quarters.
Had a pocket full of change. I'm sorry. That was a splendid daddy that night.
there comes back the look on my face. I don't know if it's disappointment or disgust.
You should be proud.
I was going to say it's right.
Just be happy it wasn't you.
That's pride.
We have talked a lot in the last 38 episodes.
About Big Al Steakhouse.
No.
Oh,
I'm trying to be serious and drunkard over here.
ouch.
Yeah. Live up to
I'll
it.
drink to that.
We have talked several times in watching in 2022.
His fun meter doesn't go as high as mine.
All the shows that you guys have ran, we noticed a lot last year that your switch has been flipped quicker to turn it up. Where in the previous years, Trey is usually the first one to flip that switch.
Trey or Teddy?
Yes.
You know, Ted don't drive hard anymore. He retired. From,
We're talking past years.
Yeah. Back in the old
like
days,
what?
it was
10 years ago? 10 years ago, Ted was driving hard.
And Teddy even admitted that whenever we were up there talking to him. He was like, I used to go out there and just kill. That's what I had to do. And he's like, well, We got
Yeah,
stepping
yeah.
into
He
more.
started- No, I'm doing it for him.
Started
You know,
building
driver's
those
hard, yeah.
budget-oriented Fords, and then he started having. But honestly, Ted is a better driver in the last 2 years than he has been his whole life driving Fords.
And he thinks
He said
he
that.
said that.
He can drive.
Yeah,
Well,
questionable.
and you all can say whatever you want. This was outside looking in. This year, watching you all out there at Blizzard Bash, that was the best team driving that I've watched you all do
Yes.
since you started out there. Because it looked like everything was placed. It looked like everybody knew where they were supposed to go and what they were doing.
Steven, it's always better to be lucky than good.
And there it is. But I mean, I did say that watching you guys, because a lot of times in past years we would see somebody kind of get
Pushed off to the
away,
side.
and then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
there's three. Where's the fourth one?
Well, he's down there in a fucking situation.
Yes, but it's like you guys never got it. Let him get it into that situation. As soon as you would move to somebody, well,
There was somebody else with you.
Teddy or Mason was right there. Okay, fuck him. He's up on the dirt now.
Trey
Us
wasn't-
two go
Trey
to the
wasn't
other.
there, but-
Trey was
I
chilling,
was
directing
just
traffic
coaching,
in the
I thought
middle.
it was so good. Yeah,
He's patiently waiting.
it's pretty sweet
I'm pretty
running.
sure I've seen him pull. You know how those pilot, you know how they land and like pull planes out.
Oh yeah, it was a landing strip.
He had
I
two
was a landing
flashlights in there.
strip.
He had
Yeah.
Rodney's
Flashlight.
flashlights.
And here you go, landing strip. Come on.
Trying to
Oh, I thought
teach him
landing strip was
something.
something else.
Trying to teach him something.
Oh shit. But is there, what I hit on with the switch flip, is that something that you really thought about in your head? Man, you know what? Fuck this.
You know what? Eddie gives me shit about that. He's like, "What are you guys doing? You're driving. Goddamn, you're driving hard. You know what? You know." And I used to be they used to give me so much shit for bagging. But here's the deal: I will drive. I want to win, but I'll drive what I got. But if I got something that I think's really good, I will drive it overly hard. I have more fun driving hard, making a good video for the fans. But there again, the fans aren't building the car; they're not paying for it. So at the end of the day, I want to
No,
win.
but they're
if
paying
I
for
can
the
drive
shows.
hard and win. It's way more fun.
Yes. I mean, that's.
So there's that, and I've had one of my
'Cause it was
been
fun
lucky
as
enough to
fuck
win my
watching
fair
them run
shows.
that
So
03.
if I can drive hard and still try to get close to the end, if I can't win, if Trey can win, if Ted can win, that's all I'll win. You know what? At the end of the night, if none of us win, and I don't care if Cody or Lando wins, they're still friends of mine. I'm happy for them. I know what a win feels like. I never want to take a glory away from a guy that won because it's a big deal. You don't know when the next one's going to come. So
Yeah.
Even if the stopwatch doesn't work, you still don't want to take it away.
You know what? You can't take away a win. You cannot take a win away from a guy. You don't want to fuck their glory up.
Correct.
It was fun as fuck watching you run that 03 though.
It was fun. I may build another one.
Yeah, try fixing them.
You know what? Well, with this new rule set we got going on around here, I could probably build one slightly better.
No pointing.
Those dangerous.
Those loud
pointers,
now or not?
They're scary.
Hey, we need to go measure those.
I got a little measurement on those, yeah.
20s, because you guys are going to be surprised. You're going to be sad.
Yeah, might
I
get-
bet there's one out here, isn't there?
I bet there's a couple out there, yeah.
And they're about like what SMS replica.
Maybe
Let's
less.
grab some measurements off that. Before
Yeah, we
leave.
can do that. Yeah,
100%.
It just sounds so
seriously.
scary. Amish,
Yeah, you know.
I don't know how that name Amish got so scary.
the wooden bumper.
Well,
The wooden
all
bumper.
that horsepower that them Amish produce.
Yeah, it adds.
It just saw one off.
It adds a little bit, but yeah, you might measure one of those. Be surprised.
It's the 2x12 backing on them. That's what
Yeah,
rough song.
It's that mounting pad just with
Rough
some
song,
outwalled.
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
It's mounting pads that make it tough.
Solid oak.
Now I might. Corey Buddy sent Trey another cradle for me, so I need to try that out this summer. Hopefully, we have enough time. If we don't qualify for the stuff up at Gold Rush, I'll probably put one of those together and just go have fun around here.
The hammer.
Ish.
Better than a nail.
Ball peen.
Okay, you guys we have talked about, you, Rob, said something about Pecatonica as well.
Right.
So, you're hitting Carnage, you're going to Whiskey City, then you're going to Pecatonica.
Yeah. Okay.
If for some reason shit
You got a double
happens,
shot.
well, if for some reason shit happens that you don't qualify, are you going to try to follow those other shows a little bit to try to get
Just
yourself in
pack.
there.
If I don't catch it at Whiskey City and don't catch it at Package, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to go ahead and build something for Mayhem and run it down. Hopefully at that point, Trey or Ted, man, I'm a good supporting cast just the same. If Trey doesn't do any good and Ted does, we're all in.
That's called humble.
That's called three good friends.
Yes. Because we've noticed in this sport, it is hard to succeed without friends.
Because
True friends is
True
what I'm
friends,
saying.
true friends.
they're the three best friends that
Anybody could have.
Just three amigos.
He is over there singing Zach Galifianakis,
Hey,
so.
Trey finished it up for me. So fuck it.
And I've even thought about the older I get. I mean, it's a lot of work. But I thought about the pack not going to pack and just going with Trey and helping him. That's part of the problem. Even when we go to Wisconsin, wherever we go, when me and Trey, we travel light. A lot of guys show up with 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. I mean, I know you help CJ and you all have a crew when you go. A lot of times it's me and Trey. We may catch 1 or 2 guys. If Ted's going, he's lucky to have 1 guy. So for the most part, we're working. Trey's working on his car. I'm working on mine. Ted's working on his. We get 1 or 2 guys. We're not going to have a whole bunch of guys. So we share guys, whatever it is. But that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work putting that stuff back together.
And it's been talked about a lot on here. There's a difference between help and help.
Yeah, you're the first one.
Oh,
You're in help.
Call
You're
it
help, and then help.
Let me hand you a beer.
I'm thirsty. I need a help.
Is anybody thirsty? Here, I'll wipe your
I'm
forehead.
help.
You know, you look like you're sweating over there.
Yeah.
I got this rag.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
There's a difference between help and help.
But I think what Steven is talking about, the help, is, you're usually going to have guys around you that are capable of doing something, but you're always going back.
Well, that's
check.
That's what we talked about last week. I've had, Jacob Green, he come out there and wanted to help on my car a little bit. Great. Love the help. It's awesome. But I went back and checked what he did. Just because I wanted it to be my fault, not his, if something didn't work. And you all have seen it, because I know the velocity of people that want to come over here. I've seen it. They're, if y'all need any help, just call me.
When they're done. We're done.
We're drinking beer in the pool house.
You coming out.
If y'all want to stop by.
We got a spot right here in the pool behind the side. It's
Yeah.
Now, there's a difference between help and help.
Yep.
There is.
And this year at Blizzard Bash, we had fortunately one of the easier heats due to circumstances. But we had that's the best help we ever had when we didn't need it.
With less. Yeah, we had less
so
guys with better help. We had Jake Earl
Jake
from
Earl came
Minnesota.
along on my car. Tommy came
Tommy
along.
Starr, brother of
Trey's.
mine. Joe
Joseph
Stevens.
helped Trey with
Teddy.
Ted with his.
Yep.
So we all work against each other. It's not. I can promise you, when one guy gets done, we don't go. That's time to go drink beer and go to the
Nope.
hotel.
Huh.
We don't leave. Even at Carnage, it doesn't make a shit. No one goes to bed until our cars are.
Well, that's usually because everybody's out there drinking at your old.
Sometimes at 4 in the morning,
That's the
we
help.
ain't got to drink no beer. A year or 2 ago, Ted had such a mess. It was 7 in the morning before we got done. We're putting them in the impound, and Sam. That's back when Sam had it. He's letting us in
mine
the door.
too.
I'm drinking beer. I'm like, I ain't got to drink a beer in 3 hours. I've got
you
never
remember-
get my beer in.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking to Corey about the year that everybody was breaking transmissions.
Yeah, we had good help that year too.
And that year out there, I took that stock car, and Corey broke that tranny. I used your skid loader. We picked my stock car up after our class, pulled the tranny out of that car, put it in Corey's car that night. And I mean, everybody was already shit hammered drunk whenever all that happened.
You said everybody, but this is you.
Okay, well, I was
This is
shit
you the
hammered
whole
drunk.
time.
And
Just
you all,
look like
well, hold on
that.
now. You all let me use the skid loader. So,
You just warming up. You're just using the heat. That's all you're doing.
well, hey, that operating thing, it's like riding a bike. I mean, if you can do it, you can do it.
You can start it, you can run it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob might not want to talk about this, but I watched him at the Whitetail banquet one time drive out of the fucking Whitetail, the center that we were in. He took off in a skid loader. After it
He
was
was
over,
test driving it. It
I'm
was
not familiar with.
he
He's
said,
test
he said,
driving.
I might need one of these, and he just.
It was a piece of equipment that he was
Yeah, it's
considering
test driving a little
purchasing.
And
So
you
he,
know what?
fuck it, I'll
4
test
years
drive it.
later, I own one.
he got yeah.
Even, You remember that time that we seen that skid loader over there? Yeah, 4 years.
Finally got it.
ago.
Yeah, I got one now.
It was all because I test drove.
4
that
years
night.
newer.
You know what?
I'm just telling you, there was 100 people in there, and Rob's running around on a skid loader.
You pick tables up for him. Get the cookies to clean them up.
I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna help y'all.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we appreciate you letting us come over, hang out, catching up on some of the stuff we didn't get to talk about on the first 10 episodes.
This was one of the more laid back episodes that we've had.
You are laid back right here.
Yes. But we are going to go down and get some measurements.
It's still size fault.
We're going to go down and get some measurements before we leave
Fact check.
for our fact checkers. Yeah.
Figure this shit out.
We're gonna have an episode with just Trey. Just me and
About
Trey.
fact
It's gonna,
checking?
yeah, it's gonna be Hard Nose
Later.
After Dark.
Later in the night, yeah. Later in the night. We'll
Taxi cab confessions.
Yes.
fake tax.
This is not a Showtime thing. This is not a
You got to do
HBO
episodes
After
by
Dark.
yourself, motherfucker. I
Oh.
want this one.
But my shit wasn't cool like After Dark, Showtime.
I'm just telling you, it's just gonna be me and Trey out in the shop by ourselves.
That's rated X.
It'll be a 2-hour episode.
Of swinging dick contest. No. So we're going to let you guys get back to building, finishing shit up. We are so wound up for the month of March as a spectator.
It's gonna be a good
Drivers,
time.
builders, it's going to be a fucking blast. And yeah, we will probably be going to AJ Steakhouse after one of those nights.
Big house.
Big Al's,
Big house.
Big Al Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spaghetti.
So, Spaghetti Factory. No.
Steaks and such.
There we go.
I thought this was a restaurant.
It is.
It is steaks and tacos.
This was a restaurant.
Tacos are after hours. Liz found another club out there that on Thursday nights, I think they have a drag show.
That's
But I don't think they're talking about horsepower.
I think steaks and tacos are better.
Yeah. I don't think it's one of those 10-second quarter-mile shows.
So I'm gonna have to get lined up with the travel agent to check on some stuff in July because I do want to go.
Well, I told you, if you set that up, I'll take off work. They're not going to like it, but I'll do it.
You'll probably be done working by then.
I might be. Hopefully,
A
I'm drawing
couple years off.
unemployment by
Couple years off.
That back injury by then.
Yeah, hell, fuck.
You probably fall. You probably fell down off something by
Well,
then.
my back's kind of hurting now. I'm a little sore.
Wait till Monday to
I
talk about that.
Oh, I got goddamn haul truck. I hope y'all got good insurance. I'm gonna slip and fall before I get out of this pool house. I'll settle this out of court right now. $20 and a Snickers.
He just had to bring up the Snickers.
He's hungry.
So,
Buy me a Ford.
got any last words?
Nope.
Make junk, boys.